use two sprites, the green and red circles, we can make an army of clones. So what they're going to do is they're going to randomly pursue the blue circle, your player. Before we create the clones, it is easiest to create the code, because when you make a clone, the code will go along with it and you don't have to do the code over and over again. So we're going to select your friend sprite and we're going to add the code so to make it bounce around the stage randomly. So we're going to take our handy dandy when flag is clicked. Now, once again, it's that game. We want it to happen. So we're going to use the forever control. So it just keeps going on and on and on. Next thing we want to do is make it go and move and point in a random direction. So we're going to find to point in direction, but we don't want it pointed in 90 degrees. We want something random. So remember, the circle, you can go to operators and find what you want. So here's the pick random. So we are going to use the entire across x coordinates. So it will go pick random direction all the way across all the time. So we're going to pick minus 180 to 180. So that will take us all across the x plane. Now we want this to keep doing this over and over again, but there's a couple things. We want it to move a few steps. We want it to, if it hits the edge, bounce. So we're going to use another repeat. So I'm going to go into control, and this way we want it to repeat a certain amount of times. So I'm going to pick 25. This way, it's going to change direction every 250 steps. It's going to repeat the same thing 25 times. I want it to move 10 steps. If it's on an edge, I want it to bounce. So I need to go find the if it's on the edge, bounce. And remember, we're doing this, so if it hits the wall, it'll bounce off the wall. Run the project and see what happens. See how the green ball is moving around just randomly up and down, no rhyme or reason. So it goes back and forever and forever and forever. So we've got that forever loop. And remember, so that goes on forever. But you can also use a repeat loop if you just wanted to repeat a certain amount of times. Now we're going to make our friendly clone army. These are the clones you need to catch to earn points. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a create a clone of myself block as the last block in the forever loop. You can find it in the control section. So we're looking for create clone of myself. Now we want to put it in the forever, but not in the repeat 25 times. So basically what this is going to do is once this repeats 25 times, it's going to create a clone. So watch what happens. After each change of direction, the sprite leaves a copy of itself. The clones are not just pictures. They're fully working copies of the original sprite, and you can give them their own instructions. Next thing we want to do is control the clones, because you noticed before they really fill up the page and then you can't see anything else. So what we're going to do is we are going to add a new event, when. So we are going to find, now normally the when blocks are under events, but this is a specific control block. You're controlling something. So it's under control when I start as a clone. So what we want to do is when you start as a clone, we want them to be transparent. So there actually is under look, we want to set effect. So we need to scroll down and notice we want a set ghost effect, but here's set color effect, And remember what I said. If the block is the same that you want and only the variable here is different and there is a triangle, you can click on it and find what you want. So I'm going to say set ghost effect and I'm going to put it to 50. And what I wanted to do is I want the code to tell each clone to move towards the sprite for 300 steps, after which the clone is going to vanish. And it will delete it. The clone will move one step at a time. It's going to move more slowly than the original friend sprite, which moves 10 steps at a time. So I'm going to go to the control, and this time I need the repeat. And I'm going to repeat it 300 times because I want it to go 300 steps. I want it to follow the player along. So the motion is points towards. Now remember, I wanted to point towards the player, but right now I only see point towards mouse pointer. If I have the little triangle, I can change it to what I want, to player. So it's going to point towards the player, and I only want it moving one step at a time. So I will take the move, and I will make it one step at a time. At the end of its repeating all of this, I want it to go away. So I will find delete clone. So once it's under control, delete the clone. Watch what happens. So you can tell your original one is a little darker green. Your other guys are moving towards your player no matter where it is. So if I move, notice I move my blue player and my friends, which is okay, are following me around. And some of them are starting to disappear as they've moved their 300 steps. And that's how you set up your friend clones.